If your squats hurt your knees, your lower back, or you just can't get at depth, this is usually because of the 3 most common issues. I'm gonna show you which one's holding you back and how to fix each one. If your heels lift when you squat, you probably have issues with ankle mobility. For this test, do this with your hand. You're gonna do this by a wall or a flat surface. Now get into a half kneeling position. Take your hand, lie your thumb up against that wall. Bring your big toe up so it touches your pinky finger. Now keeping your hips square, I want you to come forward and try to touch your knee to the flat surface. Make sure that your heel doesn't lift. If you couldn't do that move without that heel lifting, it means you need to work on ankle mobility. For this exercise, you're gonna need something to place your foot up on. I'm using 2 plate weights. Now grab a band, we're gonna anchor it somewhere low. Now you're gonna loop the band on top of your ankle joint. The combination of your foot elevated and the band on top of your ankle joint is gonna prevent your heel from lifting. Now in a half kneeling position, you're gonna push forward. You're gonna make sure that your knee tracks directly over your foot. Hold this position for 3 to 5 seconds, then come up. You're gonna do 2 sets of 8 to 10 reps per side. This move restores ankle dorsiflexion. It also makes crouching and stair descent smoother. For this next one, get into a half kneeling position. Make sure that your hips are square. You don't wanna lean in or twist the torso in any way. Now you're gonna come forward and drive your knee straight over your toe. You're gonna hold this position and then you're gonna actively try to push the ball of your foot into the ground, almost like you're trying to lift up your heel, but you're not gonna allow it to raise. Now from this position, you're gonna lift your toes and hold this for 5 seconds. Then come back up. This strengthens both the plantar flexors and the dorsiflexors at the end range. It helps keep those heels grounded in squats. It makes it easier to descend downstairs smoother, and it also helps bending down to pick something up easier. For this next exercise, grab a plate weight or something approximately 2 inches. If you're advanced, you can stack another weight on top. Now stand with 1 foot on the weight. Also make sure that your hips remain square and your back is straight. You're gonna make sure that you keep this entire foot, including that heel, glued to the plate weight. Also, you can do this by holding onto something if you need more stability. Now hinge forward slightly. Now you're gonna slowly drive this knee directly over the toes as you step down. You're gonna hold this position and lightly touch with your heel. This builds control and strength in the dorsiflexion range and prepares these ankles to handle things like deep squats and stairs without strain. It also directly improves walking down stairs and stepping off curbs. Next, we're gonna test to see if the glutes are weak. Get a plyo box, a chair, or a bench. Make sure that that bench or box is close to knee height. Now sit down on the edge of your bench and cross your arms over your chest. This reduces momentum. Before you come up, remember that you're gonna be placing a majority of the weight on the leg that you're gonna be standing on. There's gonna be a natural shift in the hip, but your torso should not twist. Now you're gonna come up. What you're looking for to see is if your knee has actually caved in or the hips are actually twisting to try to compensate. If you noticed your knees caving in or your hips trying to shift in order to get up, that means that your glutes are weak and need to be worked on. For this exercise, you're gonna need a short bench. This is approximately 12 inches. Place it on the edge of your mat. Also grab a small towel for cushion if you're using a plyo box with sharp edges like mine. I'm gonna show you a beginner version and also an advanced version. Lie sideways with your forearms supporting your body. Make sure that your elbow and your shoulder are in a straight line. Place your leg on top of the box. Now come in slightly because you want to make sure that your knee is on top of the box. Readjust your positioning of your arm if needed. Both legs are going to be slightly bent. You can also place your hand in front of you for support. Now you're going to push up using the muscle right here. This is the adductor. You're going to bring this leg up to meet and you're going to hold. Generally, you want to hold for about 15 to even 30 seconds, but just starting out, you can actually go about 5 seconds or even less. Do 2 to 3 of those on each side with that extended hold. Now I'm going to show you the advanced version. Lie down on your side in the same position. Bring the top leg up, but this time you're going to be aligning it close to your ankle. You're also going to straighten the bottom leg. You can either place your hand here for support, or you can place it here or up here, whichever you prefer. Then you're gonna push up and hold. Same time frames, same amount on each side. This movement targets the inner and outer hips together, which is critical for knee alignment. It strengthens the front plane stabilizers, which is the glute medius, and also those adductors. And that means that it keeps the knees aligned when walking, squatting, and climbing. Now we're gonna train the glutes and core together to resist rotation. You're gonna place your hands on the ground, and then you're gonna bring your heels up to where your fingertips lightly graze those heels. Now, if you have an arch in your back, you actually wanna tuck it and make sure that your lower back is glued to the floor. Now you're gonna lift this leg up. This is your working leg. Keeping your pelvis tucked, you're gonna press up through your foot and lift up. As you're holding this position, you're gonna take your opposite arm and you're gonna cross it over your body and hold. You're gonna resist the temptation for your torso to turn, and then you're gonna come back down. Do 6 controlled reps per side with a 5-second hold. This teaches your glutes and your abs to work together to keep your hips and your lower back stable during movement. So it helps for things like walking, running, and also carrying loads. Next, we're gonna challenge the glutes to control the hip and knee under hinging load. For this one, you're gonna need a band. For this one, you wanna anchor your band about knee level. You want the band to be right above the knee. The other leg is gonna be behind the band. Your goal is to resist the band from pulling your knee inward. I suggest if you're a beginner, you have something to hold on to. Make sure that your back is straight and that your torso is facing forward. Now you're gonna shift your hips slightly, but still keep your torso straight and place the majority of your weight on this leg. Then resisting the band pulling your knee in, you're gonna hinge forward. You're gonna do 2 to 3 sets of these, 8 to 10 reps per side. This movement is excellent because it protects the knees when lifting, bending, and stepping. Do this simple test to see if your pelvis or your hips are in control of the movement. Get on your hands and knees with a neutral spine. Rock your hips back and see if your lower back starts to round. If your pelvis tucks under and your lower back starts to round, it means that your core is not in control of the movement. For this one, you're gonna need a band. You're gonna get into a kneeling position and you're gonna anchor it chest level. Make sure that there's tension in the band. Now you're gonna hold the band with 2 hands, bring it into the middle of your chest, and then push out. You're gonna hold this for about 5 seconds and then come back in. Do 2 sets of 8 to 10 reps per side with that 5-second hold. Your goal with this exercise is to resist that pull that brings your pelvis and your torso in. Keep it straight the entire time. Use your abs, tighten those in order to get the move done. This keeps your spine safe and teaches your core to resist twisting, which helps protect your lower back. This helps build good core control, and that's great for doing things like squats, deadlifts, overhead presses. It keeps the trunk safe when doing things like pushing, twisting, or lifting. This also teaches your ribs and your pelvis to stay stacked over load. Anchor one end of a band to your ankle, then grab a hold of it with the opposite hand. Make sure that the band ends up in between your legs. Now get on all fours. You're gonna shift just slightly onto this leg right here. This is gonna be where the weight is going to be. This is your working leg. Make sure that your back is straight and also your pelvis. You don't want any shifting or turning other than putting the weight on this leg. Then, keeping a neutral spine, you're gonna push the leg out and the opposite arm with control. You're gonna hold this for 3 to 5 seconds and then come back in. You're gonna do 8 to 10 of these per side. This teaches your body to stay controlled while opposite sides work together so that your spine is supported when you're doing things like daily lifting, long periods of sitting, and also bending. Now we're gonna challenge the core and pelvis to stay stacked when carrying real weight. Now grab a dumbbell. It doesn't have to be this heavy, but you do want it to have a little bit of weight to it. You wanna make sure that you're not leaning into the side to compensate for the weight. You want your back nice and straight and tall, and you're gonna take about 20 to 30 steps. The goal is to resist any type of twisting or turning and keep everything nice and straight and tall. You'll then switch sides and do the same on the other side. This move builds real-world lateral stability. It makes carrying groceries, kids, or bags safer on your back. Let's turn your everyday movements into back-safe habits. Now, when you go to pick something up, you wanna make sure that your back is straight and your rib cage and your pelvis are in line. Then you're gonna hip hinge first. There's gonna be a slight bend in the knee, and then you're gonna come down further to pick it up. Always make sure that it's close to you and keep that back straight the entire time. Now, I do want to mention that spinal flexion isn't inherently bad, but when you're dealing with lower back pain and muscle imbalances, you want to work on proper squat and proper hip hinging mechanics first. And this is so your body can heal and regain stability before reintroducing things like flexion. So when you focus on proper squatting and hinging movements, it translates to safer lifting for groceries, boxes, and kids. Next, when you get out of a chair, you want to make sure that you're not dumping into the lower back. Spread your legs about hip width apart. Then squeeze those glutes, keep the back straight, and come up. This is gonna help to reduce stress on those knees. Next, we're gonna retrain climbing the stairs. Pretend this is a step. One of the common problems with stepping up are knees caving in. This is due to lack of strength in this muscle right here. As you step up, there's gonna be a slight shift on this leg, but you also wanna make sure that those hips remain square and everything is straight forward. Then when you come up, make sure that your back is straight and it doesn't hunch over or excessively arch. You should squeeze your glutes on the way up to prevent your knee from caving in. This keeps your hips and also your knees in line so that you reduce the stress on those knees. These small cues turn every step, stand, and lift into a chance to reinforce proper body mechanics.